Hello and welcome. You're watching India Global. I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. This is a show that gets you all the big stories that we are tracking from around the world, stories that matter to the global Indian. First up, as always, we start with the headlines. Showdown over Operation Sindoor intensifies. Opposition politicizing national security. That's the question. The government versus opposition showdown. Well, a debate in Lok Sabha likely to take place next week. 16 hours have been allocated for the Operation Sindoor debate. China begins construction of mega dam over Brahmaputra. Will India protest threat to its water security? Bangladesh Air Force jet crashes into college. One dead as made in China jet crashes in Dhaka. Prime Minister Modi to attend Maldives' 60th Independence Day. India's Maldives outreach is part of a major reset that has taken place in the New Delhi Malay ties. And India's UPI becomes global leader in fast payments, says the IMF. India processes 80 billion UPI transactions monthly. Well, viewers, our top story on the show, monsoon session of Parliament started on a stormy note on day one. Protests erupted in both houses, demanding discussions on the Pahalgam terror attack that took place on the 22nd of April, took 26 Indian lives, and the Operation Sindoor that was launched by India subsequently. Opposition also questioned the government's foreign policy with reference to President Trump's repeated remarks that came in about what he says that he brokered the ceasefire, something that India has vehemently, repeatedly rejected. Prime Minister Modi also spoke ahead of the monsoon session. Now, there will be an important time that will be allocated for the discussion that will take place on the floor of the House, even as there was ruckus that happened today. And raising questions, raising slogans in the midst of what looked like, well, yet another session that is likely to see fireworks going forward. Now, viewers, time has been allocated for Operation Sindoor that will take place next week. Over 16 hours has been allocated. And that is likely to be the first statement that the government will make on the floor of the House on several key issues that the opposition is now asking more details on. I want to first play out some sound bites and then we come back and discuss the story in detail, including put out the big questions that we always do on India Global.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में भारत की सेना ने जो लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया था 100% अचीव किया। आतंकियों के आकाओं के घर में जाकर के 22 मिनट के भीतर भीतर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के तहत उसको जमींदोज कर दिया गया।
पहलगाम हमला 22 अप्रैल को हुआ था। अब तक आतंकवादी पकड़े नहीं गए। मैं चाहता हूं कि उनके तरफ से हमको मालूमात मिलना चाहिए। जैसा कि पहलगाम हमला 22 अप्रैल को हुआ था। अब तक आतंकवादी पकड़े तो नहीं गए, लेकिन हुआ क्या? एक मिनट लेकिन J&K में कम से कम इंटेलिजेंस, इनकी सिक्योरिटी है, उसके बारे में उनका फेल्योर हुआ, ये उन्होंने ही कहा है, लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर ने कहा है।
You heard the two sides, and more on this is likely to follow in the next coming days. I want to put out those big questions that we always do, and then we get in our guests also joining us on the show today. First up, is the opposition politicizing national security? The fact is, Operation Sindoor was an important event that took place after the terrorist attack. The fact that there's a lot of focus on intel failure around the Pahalgam terror attack indicates that is there an intent to politicize? Second question that we are asking, will the government reveal details, the specifics of those details of Operation Sindoor? Should that even be asked, given that there are genuine and very serious national security concerns at play? Third and final point that we are putting out, the Trump interference, something that India has vehemently rejected time and again. Every stakeholder in India has said that. But that interference claim that Trump is making is something that the opposition is likely to pick up even more. And will that really be one of the big factors adding to the fireworks in Parliament going forward? Let's put those questions to Manju Seth, who's joining us on the broadcast, former ambassador on the show. Ma'am, how do you see Operation Sindoor that will be taken up next week in Parliament, the politics around it, the fireworks that are likely to in fact intensify when the discussion actually takes place?
Yes, you're right. There will be fireworks on Operation Sindoor. We can expect that. That's the job of the opposition, to hold the government to account, I think. So that will be there. And yes, I think, normally, if you look at all the other, at least to my knowledge, no country has really been, giving full details of their losses, I have not seen any details being released to the public about full losses and actual, problems, or, what are the setbacks that were experienced during a conflict. I don't think any government, and as you very rightly said, it has national security implications. And so I don't think that all details of those kind which can impact the security and our overall national interest should be sort of made public. But yes, whatever is, the opposition's job is to ask questions, and whatever are the main issues, they should be discussed and shared with the government, by the government. But at the same time, as I said, it's not it's not the normal practice to share all details, all losses.
What do you think should be the specific areas that the government is likely to focus on? Because the opposition says three things. The opposition wants threadbare details on three things. It wants on the intel failure of Pahalgam terror attack. Then it wants to know what were the losses that took place during Operation Sindoor, if any there were. Then the third, it wants more clarity after repeated clarifications have already been given. It wants more clarity on the claims made by US President on what he thought and what he said is that US brokered ceasefire. What do you think will be the areas that the government will focus on? What do you think is the attempt of the entire exercise here from the opposition side?
I think they do want to put the government in a spot. It appears from all the way they are doing, and as I just said, all details which impact security will not be, I think, put on the table. But yes, other issues which are clear and which the opposition would like to know, I'm sure they will be all answered. And as far as I think President Trump's claims are concerned, I do feel that we don't know how much to trust and believe his speech, his statements, because if you look at his speeches and his sort of statements throughout, from the time he has taken on the second presidency for the second time, there have been a lot of back and forth. Saying something and then, reneging on it. So I think that needs to be also focused on.
Which brings me to ask you my final question, which is that the government has on several occasions said Operation Sindoor hasn't ended. It is still going on. That's been the statement by the Raksha Mantri in the past as well. In the backdrop of that very important factor, how do you think this entire issue should be approached going forward, in terms of the fact that the government says the operation is actually ongoing and hasn't ended?
Yes, I think till the all perpetrators are brought to book, I think this operation will continue. And how it continues, I think that the government will decide. And they will, focus on, and yes, intelligence failure. The government had admitted indirectly that there was some intelligence failure at that point of time when the Pahalgam attacks took place. And one of the fallouts, I think, which is really unfortunate of all this has been the rehyphenation India, Pakistan in the global narrative, and especially by the US. And I think that is one of the areas that we need to work on, the government needs to work on to ensure that the hyphenation does not continue. But I think we don't have much to, we cannot do very much about it, because I think the Trump administration, the US government has decided that it is in their national interest to pursue this kind of narrative. And also, if you recall, President Trump has been talking about being the peacemaker, and that many people have nominated him for the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize. So I think that is also one of his intent, it appears, from all the statements that are coming out.
All right, let's leave it there. Thanks much for joining us on this edition of India Global. Turning focus now to the other important story on India Global. Amidst a crucial reset in ties, Prime Minister Modi is set to visit Maldives this week. This will be his first visit since President Monsoon came to power in November 2023. That caused a huge rift in ties. And let's tell you, in terms of what has been the impact, in terms of the outreach that has actually happened for the India-Maldives outreach that has taken place. Prime Minister Modi will be the guest of honor at the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the independence of Maldives on 26th of July. Now, this will be extremely important because this will mark a turnaround in the relationship, which started on a confrontational note. Earlier, Monsoon had asked India to withdraw Indian military personnel associated with the aviation platforms. That is the 2 choppers and an aircraft, and then he replaced that and he wanted that to be replaced. And Monsoon then, of course, visited India in October last year. The 2 sides moved forward to mend ties. Prime Minister Modi's visit will be aimed at taking this forward. Let's also not forget that Monsoon had originally and early on in his tenure shown a lot of propensity towards China, and that had really impacted the entire relationship. But when he came to India, India did offer large, significant financial assistance to Maldives, which helped the country to recover from its really financial dire straits that it was actually in. And let's tell you what is the specifics that happened there, and let's tell you that as well. Put that out, the India-Maldives outreach that we tell you in detail. Well, first and foremost, on July 2025 is when Prime Minister Modi will attend the 60th Independence Day celebrations as part of the outreach that will take place. Second, this is Prime Minister Modi's let's move ahead and tell you that this is Prime Minister Modi's first visit since the showdown that took place in 2024. Now, Maldives is a key country in India's neighborhood first policy. It is very strategically located in the entire Indo-Pacific, which is why it's being courted heavily by China as well. Monsoon had come to Delhi in October 2024, which is when a certain change in the entire relationship took place. India had extended significant financial aid amidst a reset, and there was also a time when Indian tourists had stopped going to Maldives, and that is something that changed with India making a very clear appeal that Indians must go back to going to Maldives. Remember, Maldives relies very heavily on tourists, and tourist footfall from India form a very large chunk of its economy. So this will be an important visit, viewers, that we're going to keep a very close watch on. I'm going to slip into a very short break on India Global, come back on the other side, talk more about the world's biggest dam that China is building and how it impacts India and India's water security. We come back and talk on that. Stay with us. Well, viewers, we are now turning attention to what could be an extremely important aspect of water security for India and to all downstream nations from Brahmaputra, which also includes Bangladesh. Now, China's Premier Li Qiang oversaw the groundbreaking ceremony for the start of a massive hydropower project in Tibet on Saturday. State television had put out those images. The controversial project in the lower reaches of the Yarlung-Zangbo River, which is Brahmaputra, and this is the Chinese name of that river, is expected to be the world's largest hydropower facility. It's $170 billion is the kind of investments that they are putting in. A lot of people say that it's not something that started only today. Some people believe that work had actually started a couple of years back. It's just beginning to show now. Now, this is going to have a major impact on India's water security potentially, and even for Bangladesh as well. And let's tell you that on the graphic that we are telling right here, viewers, in terms of this is the entire glacier, the origin of Brahmaputra right there, and then you can see the trajectory it takes and where exactly is it that the dam is being built by China. $170 billion, the biggest dam in the world, a mega project that will have implications, as I said, downstream for other countries as well, India as well as Bangladesh. And let's quickly now tell you the big questions that we are asking on this story that are important, and then we're going to get Major General G.G. Dwivedi to get answers to some of them. First and foremost, is this a big threat now to India's water security, and how will India respond to something like this? Can China weaponize Brahmaputra? There's an attempt to do so, but is it actually going to do it? What are the environmental concerns? Remember, this is a very seismic zone in which this entire construction is taking place. It's the mammoth construction. Will it actually have a major impact on the entire region? Will India and Bangladesh register a formal protest against this? And how will that impact our water security? Major General G.G. Dwivedi joins us to talk more on that. General Dwivedi, your thoughts on this? The dam that is being built, the impact this will have on India, the strategic thought with which Beijing is actually going ahead with this. Your first thoughts, sir.
Thank you, Gaurie, for having me on your show. Well, you have flagged certain essential details about the dam that is going to come up on the river bend when the Yarlung Tsangpo, which is known as by this name in China, it takes a bend, and that's the area of Namcha Barwa. The point at issue is, Gaurie, that this dam building activity of China is not a new, I would say, news. It has been there for last couple of years. In fact, China has already built 5 dams on Yarlung Tsangpo, and these are at the place of Zangmu, Dagu, Chieshu. So the point is that this dam was also in the planning stage. In fact, this is part of the 14th 5-year plan of China. And you're right, the work has not started only when Prime Minister Li Qiang has, broken the ground and launched the project. This project has been there for a couple of years. It started during
pandemic, in fact. It started during the midst of pandemic.
Absolutely, absolutely, about 4-5 years back.
You know, this is a... Right. So, General Dwivedi, this is a dam that is being built close to the border in an area which is highly seismic zone, is going to have an impact on downstream nations, that is India and then Bangladesh. What should be our response to something like this that has a long-term impact on so many aspects for India?
Absolutely, Gaurie. This dam is being built very close to the LAC of the border. There are 2-3 things which are very important. First and foremost is the size of the dam is going to generate something like 60 gigawatts of electricity, which is almost 3 times the size of 3 Gaurie project. Now it's going to have number of impacts as far as India is concerned, both as a security, as also on the flora and fauna, as also on the ecological. First and foremost, Chinese have the ability now to regulate the water. As I said, they already have 5 dams, and this is a very big mega dam, and therefore they have the ability to regulate the water, and that force means they have a leverage, and this is a very strategic leverage they will have. Secondly, the construction itself is going to be over the years. About 320 kilometers of tunneling is going to take place. So a lot of construction material will flow into the river, and that will impact the quality of water and also the fishery and other agriculture issues. The third point which we need to remember is that Chinese are very, very secretive about all their projects. And there have been talk of Chinese diverting water to the north. When I was in China, we did a close study about their water scarcity in the north. So Chinese also have the ability to divert water in the north, though they keep saying it is run-of-the-river project. But I think we can't believe Chinese, they can divert the water northward. Now, what should be our response? Firstly, Gaurie, we should have been talking about this. We should have brought to notice long time earlier. We should have tried to sign some kind of a treaty with them, which not happened. Now India should actually make number of dams in our own area so that we are able to take care in
Okay.
case the Chinese try to regulate the water. Secondly, also get in touch with Bangladesh, Bhutan, who are also impacted, and raise the issue at multilateral forums, because we cannot accept this situation where Chinese are going to weaponize the river waters.
I think
of
India's
Brahmaputra.
largest strategic goals need to now be kept at the center in terms of deciding the next course of action. As far as China is concerned, this is a very clear attempt to weaponize Brahmaputra, to weaponize water, given the fact that so many rivers actually flow in from Tibet, and then India is one of the downstream countries where the water actually flows through, and China's attempt is quite clear. I'm going to leave it there. General Dwivedi, thanks much for joining us on India Global. I'm turning attention now to Bangladesh, where a Bangladesh Air Force training aircraft crashed into a school campus in Dhaka's Northern Uttara area today, killing at least one person and injuring reports seem to indicate as many as a dozen individuals. It was according to the military and a fire official. These are the latest visuals that we have, latest reports that are coming in. Now, the aircraft crashed on a campus of the Milestone School and College in Dhaka's Uttara area. And let me get in my colleague Shivaru, who joins us for more on this. Connect the dots for us here, Shiv, the significance of this and why it is something that needs to be talked about more.
Gaurie, very sad to report that the death toll in this accident has gone up to 16 people now. That's what we can confirm to our viewers. This was a Bangladesh Air Force Chinese-built F-7 fighter trainer aircraft, which was on some kind of a training mission. We had initially confirmed that one pilot had been killed, but we can now confirm that 16 people, including presumably students or teachers of that school, have fallen victim to this crashing jet. The circumstances around the crash itself are not known just now. This aircraft appears to have been flying quite low. There has been quite a lot of military aircraft activity over Dhaka in the recent weeks and months following the political upheaval in that country. The F-7 is a fighter jet that happens to be the mainstay, the backbone, if you will, of the Bangladesh Air Force. The F-7 is a Chinese-built fighter. It makes up a large part of the fighter fleet of the Bangladesh Air Force. It is basically a license-built version of the MiG-21 that we in India know very well, of Russian origin. Now, these are very old vintage aircraft, but why precisely the pilot or pilots of this aircraft were unable to eject or steer it away from a built-up area like a school, will be the subject matter of an investigation. But 16 people killed in this crash makes it a truly horrific accident. Death toll going up to 16 in an urban environment, especially in a school, is heart-wrenching. Those images that have come out from that school, of burnt students being stretchered away to hospitals, bewildered parents looking for their children, is something that has elicited shock and horror in the region. Mohammed Yunus, the caretaker president of the country, has also issued a statement of condolence. The relief and rescue operations are still happening at this time.
All right, Shiv, we leave it there. Thanks much for giving us all those details. The tragic story that came to light from Bangladesh. Shifting focus now to US President Donald Trump, who's triggered a political firestorm after posting an AI-generated video depicting former President Barack Obama being arrested inside the Oval Office. This is an AI-generated video, viewers, that Trump has put out on his social media platform. It's a controversial clip. And it shows a hyper-realistic video of Obama being handcuffed and led away by federal agents in the same office he once occupied as Commander-in-Chief. The video from Trump has sparked major criticism for the US president, with the move being called deeply irresponsible. The video does not come with any disclaimer that it's actually artificially generated in terms of with the use of AI or anything. All right, with that as a wrap on India Global. Thanks so much for watching.